Welcome to Ben and Gary's.
Here's the scoop.
Today we have a very special guest in our very special and exclusive studio next door to my house. We have Elizabeth Riggins. Did I say your last name right?
Yes.
Okay,
So
thank
yep,
God.
it'll change here in a month, but it's fine.
I hear
But
that. Are you very excited?
I'm so excited. I'm just ready to be married.
Yes,
Really?
absolutely. That's going to be so happy for you.
I know.
The greatest day of my life was when I let Stephanie be the boss of me. That happened way before we got married, but then we got married also, so that was kind of special.
And then it became official.
It was official,
It's official.
yes. So then I couldn't be like, "You're not my boss." She'd be like, "Yes, I am. I got the marriage certificate to prove it."
I don't know if my fiance would let me get away with stuff quite like that. He'd be like, "You can think that.
Yeah.
You can think that." And I'd be like,
We'll let you believe
as
that.
long as you let me believe
Well,
that.
tell us a little bit about yourself so we can get to know you.
Yeah, well, so I currently work at Central Bank. I'm a mortgage loan officer there. My journey kind of started back when I was 18. I was working as a pharmacy tech at Walgreens, and just that was the opportunity that was in front of me, so I was full steam ahead. And then mortgage lending came up. My dad's a real estate agent in another town, and the lender from USA Mortgage reached out to him and was like, "Hey, you know anybody?" And my dad, being my dad, he was like, "Yeah, I got a rock star kid who's in college and doing all this stuff." And so he's like, you want to be a lender? And I looked at him and I was like,
You lost your breath for a second?
I was like, what are you talking about? And so, at the time, I just went and interviewed. I was like, this is great experience. This is, big girl job, and I'm going to go interview. And I interviewed, and they said, if you go and get your mortgage licensing exam done, you pass the state and federal tests, we'll hire you. And I was like, challenge accepted. So that's what I went and did, and they hired me on at 18, and I've been doing mortgages ever since. So I'm now with a different company, but I'm loving it. I'm loving it.
So how many years has that been now then?
It'll be it's 3 years technically that I've been involved in the mortgage industry.
Wow.
I was hired on in June, so June will be officially 3 years.
Well, happy 3-year anniversary
Well,
early.
thank you.
That's amazing.
It's been a wild ride. I started in 2021 when rates were still 3.5, 3.75, and I've been, through the ups and the downs, and now here we are at 6.5%. So it's been crazy, but I've learned so much about my own finances through it, and I've been able to help, younger people in my position, like, hey, you are so close, like, you're doing all the right things. You just have a few more steps to go, and that's been, I think, the most gratifying part of being where I'm at.
That's the one thing that I've noticed about mortgage lenders and lenders in general is they have a specific understanding of credit scores and stuff like that allows them to walk people through that process. So obviously being young and not ever experiencing that personally, there's a lot of learning curve for you there, but it sounds like you've got a pretty good master on it.
Yeah, it's been great. And I was never taught any of this in school. So I learned about it on the job, and I was like, oh, so I can do this to help set myself up. And me and my fiance, we just bought our first home at 21.
Wow.
And so I was able to use the tools and the skills, and I have a sister-in-law. They're looking at trying to set themselves up for home ownership here in the future, and it's so fun to share.
Right.
And I love the sharing and the connections that I've been able to do through this industry and my position. I wouldn't trade it for the world.
Awesome.
So a lot of people, they fear that their credit score is going to cause them not to get a loan, but what you just said, I would go ahead and reach out because lenders can help you get to the point if you're not at that point already.
Yeah, no, and that's a lot of what I've seen here recently. I guess the certain demographic that I've been dealing with is those younger people who are like, I want to get a home, but I think my credits, student loans are really high, or this, I messed up and I charged up stuff on this credit card. And if you approach it from a positive perspective and be like, hey, that's okay. Like, let me help you from a mortgage perspective. I specifically say that because, credit and income, what you want to do with it on your tax returns and, strategies you take are going to vary, especially depending on what your goals in life right now are.
Right.
And so that's what I tell people. I'm like, let's look at it. Let me run a couple of reports and let me give you all the information I have so you can make the best decision for yourself. Because in our industry, we have to be careful about using the word credit coaching because, that's not really what we do.
Right.
But I can give you all the tools and knowledge I have to help you prep your credit for the purpose of buying a home.
Right.
And, sometimes better credit is better for most everything. and it's gonna take you farther, especially with like auto loans and personal loans, and even building your own home or a business loan. I had someone reach out to me and they're like, oh, can you help? Like, we've got a 530 credit score, and his business is in the green, it's doing awesome, but he had mistakes from when he was a young kid, and it was really, and I was like, I'd love to help you, but I can tell you right now, with his credit score, it's going to be really hard to get anybody. And
Right.
Even though I don't do commercial, I said this is the things you need to do, and help you and your husband get to that point where you can buy commercial property for your business that's
Right.
doing amazing. And it just takes you so far. It really does.
And sometimes, the mistakes and the things we do wrong in the past, they're not so much a determiner of what our future can be, but you have to overcome those things before you can move on as
Yeah.
well.
Right.
So the fact that you took the time and said, hey, this is what we need to do to build yourself to there, that's the thing we love about people, is because like a goal for somebody, a dream for somebody is unachievable if everybody just tells them no. And nobody
Right.
says, hey, let me take you by the hand and let's walk to this way and let's go down this path together and find our way to where
I mean,
you
it's
need to
not
be.
someone's fault. They don't know what they don't know.
Right.
And that can't be held against them. So, there are people out there who, don't use the advice that we give them, and that's okay. That's their prerogative. That's their choice.
Right.
But giving that information and letting them decide what they want to do with it is 10 times better than just saying no.
Right. That's amazing. And another thing, while we were sitting here talking, I would just like to say how amazing the two of you are. You're both in your mid-20s. You're both in professional industries. And you're both going to do amazing things. So I am so excited as a old man to see some of the amazing people in this industry who are building and trying to do something so much better with their life by the time they're my age. So kudos to the two of you.
Never
Lindsay
too young.
is
Weirdos!
I never owned a basement, actually, Gary.
Well, most of the time when you live in a basement, you're not the one owning the basement.
Yeah. I'm my parents.
It's so much fun. And we're doing good. We're doing good, Benji.
Yep.
We're doing good.
Thank you.
So what does it look like through your branch to get pre-qualified for a home loan? What does that process look like?
So it's pretty standard to everyone else. I have an online link that we use for application, or we can come in person, whatever works. So usually I text you that link and I say, hey, click it. It works great with a mobile phone. And it's a step-by-step questionnaire. So it's not like the big scary pieces of paper that we used to have in our industry. It's, how old are you? When's your birthday? What's your social? Simplifies that process to make it less daunting. And then we have a portal where you can submit documents after that. So you go through your application, you click submit, automatically gets thrown into our system, and then it starts having you upload documentation. So if you have like paper pay stubs, you can document scanner, it'll scan it into the system, or you can upload like PDFs, pictures, whatever. And then I get notifications when you submit an application, when you upload documentations, and my goal is to get to that as soon as possible. So within 24 to 48 hours, you're going to get an email or a phone call from me saying, hey, I need some more questions, and this is what your application is looking like right now. So I use the income you put on the application versus your pay stubs, and I try to do some quick analytics to kind of get you a ballpark number, and I start gathering the rest of your documentation to verification. So when I hand you a pre-qual letter, you're pre-qualified. So that's why I take some extra steps to verify that information, because I learned the hard way that I can't always trust the application. And I don't want to make those mistakes again.
Right.
So I try to create, the lines like, okay, now I need this and I need this. And most of the time, but once I have your bank statements and your pay stubs and your tax returns, W-2s, I can get you pre-qualified pretty quickly. I break down what your monthly payment's going to look like, what's entailed in your monthly payment. I tell you your estimated interest rate, the terms of your loan. So as you know, being familiar with the mortgage industry, there's so many different loan types, so many different benefits and gives and takes. So I kind of break that down in the email. I break down closing costs, say, hey, this is, closing costs, these are the cost of your loan, here's your down payment, here's the total. And I always ask people, I say, have you done a budget, and is this payment comfortable for your budget? Because in the mortgage world, we use your gross income. So that's your income before taxes. The income you see is your net income, income after taxes. So I always ask people that question. Where's that comfortable payment spot for you? As a mortgage lender, and honestly, morally as a person, I feel a fiscal responsibility. So I do not want to get someone in something that's over their head, and they knew it was over their head, and I never asked.
Right.
And because it's scary. Mortgage is scary. Applying for a mortgage is scary. And sometimes people aren't comfortable asking those questions or saying that, they're not comfortable with something.
Right.
So I initiate those questions. I try to open those doors to say, be transparent, be honest. Because if I can do that with you, then hopefully you feel that way with me, and I can put you at a point where financially you're going to succeed and soar,
Right.
rather than, get turned upside down. And then after that, that's when realtors get involved, and I send out pre-qual letters, and you start shopping, and usually touch base once a week, every 2 weeks. Hey, how's it going? How's the shopping? Can I have updated bank statements or pay stubs or whatever I'm needing at the time?
Right.
And I do a lot of field underwriting, so I try to get all of that stuff, as much documentation as I can, get taken care of before we go to underwriting. So underwriting asks for fewest documents possible, and I've answered all the questions that I
Right.
can think to answer for them. So we soar through the underwriting process.
So the underwriter gets your files and they're like, God, I don't.
Only once or twice has it happened, but I've had an underwriter email me like, this file looks great. Thank you for actually doing your job. And I'm like,
Right.
no problem. But
I'm kind of good.
I'm
I'm just here.
But really, it's just me being paranoid and being a perfectionist and doing it all beforehand, so I know.
Right.
That's really what it is.
Well, and the thing about it is, I ran into a situation yesterday. I've been working for this client for a long time.
Mm-hmm.
And so he found a house that he thought was out of his price budget. And he called his lender and said, this is what I want to do.
Mm-hmm.
What can I do on this house? And so the lender literally gives him a price range and a concession amount and says, if you do this, it'll be fine.
Mm-hmm.
The next day he turns back around and says, sorry, I missed some stuff. I overshot. This is where we're at. And we're talking about a $10,000 difference. And so the fact that you are working hard up front to make sure that disappointment and heartbreak doesn't happen
Mm-hmm.
is an amazing thing to know, because there's not every lender out there is doing that.
Right.
So
And whether it's a good or a bad thing, I get emotionally invested on behalf. I have so much empathy.
Right.
I can't imagine being told yes and then a day and a half later being told no. And I know you guys have experienced clients, they're on Zillow or they're on Realtor.com and they're looking at these homes and they're like, this is beautiful, I want this, this is what I want, can we go see it? And you go see it and they love it. And then they go to the bank and they're like, well, this is what you can afford.
right.
But their hopes are dashed. They want this, this number, but they can only have this number. And it's hard. And
Right.
so we really do rely on, customers getting us the documentation to solidify those numbers. I don't want anybody's heart to be broken. Why? I don't want that.
The situation you just described is also why you should be pre-qualified for a home
Yeah.
loan first.
Mm-hmm.
Because that is devastating to have your heart set on something and then have to settle. Because buying your home shouldn't be something you're settling on. Well, I guess I'll take this since I can't have what I want,
Right. And, sometimes that's the case. You can't buy $1 million home on a $100,000 budget.
Right?
But when you're buying a home, you should be comfortable.
Right.
You should be confident. And that's what I want for people. Me and my fiance's first home, it's a fixer-upper. By no means is it our dream home, a 100-acre farm. We just can't afford that right now. But that's okay, because we are so happy with the purchase we did make, and we knew going into it what it was going to take.
Right.
And that's what I want for other people, to experience the joy that is home ownership and the pride and the financial wealth you can build.
Absolutely.
Purely off of being a homeowner.
Yes. I said it time and time again on this podcast.
Yeah.
The single greatest source of generational wealth is real estate.
Yeah.
So that's the one thing in the last 3 years that I have learned, is that building wealth through real estate is hands down the best way to get things done. So, well, what about, is there any special programs that you guys offer that you're super excited about?
So I'd say by far our favorite program that we have at Central Bank is our Service Hero program. So it's a 100% down program, which means there's no down payment. It is a 30-year loan, so the term's over 30 years. However, it is an adjustable rate. So that's scary to some, but we have a 5-year fixed option and a 7-year fixed option. So that means that it's fixed for 5 years at the initial term that we lock you in at. And then once a year after that, it'll adjust based on when we close. So if you close February 1st, it'll adjust February 1st of every year after that. So we have a 5 and a 7-year option. If you think about it, most people really only spend every 5 to 7 years in a home because you're going through life changes,
Right.
things are happening. but we can also refinance you into a 30-year fixed after that time period because you have enough equity to balance out and you don't need that zero down financing anymore. So that's an option we have at Central Bank. It is for first-time home buyers. It's for teachers, EMTs, police officers, and firefighters. And so those are kind of an underserved demographic in our area with just their income and what they, the things that they do and the hard work that they put in. Right. And sometimes they don't always have this extra money to put down. It goes to other things. So this allows us to get them into a home at a cheaper cost up front and open doors for them into home ownership. We also have a similar program with professional business and professional medical. So business includes lawyers, CPAs, and college professors. So it's 100% down, no down payment. They do have the option to do a 30-year fixed. There is some income qualifications they have to meet and some credit qualifications. And then the medical side, also we can do that 30-year fixed option. And I like to dub it the one with a lot of letters after their last name. It's, your dentists, your doctors, people who really in the medical field who do amazing things. Residents, fellows, people who are working to that degree, all those. And there's no lender. It's mortgage, lender paid mortgage insurance, sorry. So that makes the loan cheaper. Nice. A lot of times when you have those zero downs or less than 20% down, most all the time you have mortgage insurance. And with ours you don't because we service them in-house.
That's amazing.
So you make your payments to Central Bank and we work with you and so it's a really great option. I love it because it opens the door to more opportunities outside of your cookie cutter loans. That you have to meet federal guidelines here, and you have to meet this, and you have to meet this. So this gives us an option to take things and look at things internally, and really for those home buyers it makes sense, but they're just missing like one or two things. That's our target audience, and so obviously we love to do the 800 credit score.
Let me rubber stamp this one.
30% down, but we're able to work and really cater to the unique. And our 100% down to help those our service heroes. Right. I mean, our teachers are putting in so much work right now. Yeah. Our police officers, our firefighters, like EMTs, especially in our area, they're taking a brunt of a lot of stuff right now. And so being able to offer this is just, I'm happy to do so. I'm excited to do so. So I hope people are able to utilize our program. I really do.
Cool. Now, is that a conventional style loan or is it?
So it is considered conventional. Okay. So there aren't the additional property requirements like FHA or USDA.
Right.
So as long as it's meeting conventional guidelines on the property, we're good.
Well, that's the easy button, isn't it?
Yeah. As long as it has a roof.
He wants to oversimplify everything. He's like, as long as they're breathing, they can buy a house. No, Bitsy, there's more to it.
Well, yeah.
Is there any last thoughts that we didn't think to ask you that you feel would be important to share?
Oh man, I'm not good on the spot. Call Central Bank for all of your home financing needs. And we want to help people with their financial goals really at the end of the day. So if someone's a year out from buying a home and they know they're a year out from buying a home, apply anyways.
Yeah. Right.
Because I'm going to be able to tell you it is an estimate. But that's so much better than shooting in the dark.
Yeah. Right.
And so there's no dumb questions. Like if you don't
understand. Have you talked to Benji before?
My questions are all like super intelligent.
Super. But back to, you don't know what you don't know.
Right.
And so it's scary to ask those questions. I mean, I don't like asking for help. I don't like asking those questions.
Right.
But when it comes to your financial future, the generational wealth, like all of these things, it's so important. So ask those dumb questions. Understand, because if you don't understand what you're doing, then we are not doing our job right as lenders.
Yep. Yeah.
And so ask those questions. Really, that's the biggest thing. Even if it's not me, ask somebody those questions. And if they aren't answering your questions, find somebody who will. Because homeownership is the biggest purchase of somebody's life for most people, and they need to understand, they need to be comfortable, and they need to have all their options.
Yes.
That's the biggest things. Learn about all your options, because that's what's going to give you the greatest chance of succeeding. Learning, like with a car, you don't go to one car. Well, most people, you shouldn't go to one car dealership, try out one car, and be happy, right? You try a bunch of them. You do your research. You figure out, okay, so what's this rate? And back in the day, you used to be able to haggle and, you know, get them to come down. Like, you should do that with your home too.
Right.
Like, you can do that. And especially with your mortgage. So, I mean, I recommend tell everybody to shop around because that's how you're going to get your best rate. And, I mean, over at Central Bank, if you shop around and you said, hey, someone has a 0.25% better interest rate than you do, it's like, okay, give me another chance. Let's go back to the drawing board. Let's see what I can do to get you either match that deal or get a better deal and exceeding customer service.
Yes.
Because you can get the best rate on earth if no one's calling you back.
Yeah.
What's it worth?
0.
So, I mean, those are
Big
things.
city.
So those are the kind of things to just keep in mind. And I mean, you guys know those. I know you share that with your clients. Shop around, look into things,
Right.
and that's the best thing you can do for yourself as a first-time home buyer. As a home buyer, whether it's your first, 5th, 10th, or 20th home, it's important to do that.
Yes. Benji, you have any questions?
I think it was pretty much all covered. I don't
So, do you have a good dad joke for us this week?
Always. I want to hear yours first, Gary.
I didn't plan one. This is your thing.
I have a really cheesy goat.
Oh, let's hear it.
It's about mac and cheese. I don't think you guys really want to hear that.
Look at us. We
Okay.
love to hear about mac and cheese.
I think I totally.
I thought that was the joke. All right, we're going to start all over again and pretend like we didn't hear it already. Then here you go.
Okay, we'll put it in the bloopers at the end.
Yeah, there we go.
Okay, do you guys want to hear a mac and cheese joke?
Sure.
I don't think you do. It's too cheesy.
Oh, that's a good one. That's a good one.
Why can't cheetahs hide? They're always spotted.
Oh, that is a good one. Why wouldn't they let the cat in school?
What?
Because he's a cheetah. It's a pretty good cheetah.
What's faster, hot or cold?
What?
Cold. Well, hot, because you can catch a cold.
Well,
We're bad at jokes here.
yeah, very bad apparently. So
That's
I
why
didn't
we're in
have
real estate. We can.
right. We're not getting a job in comedy. So when we was in Vegas, funny story about jokes. Benji was going to a comedy show, and so he's talking to his mom on the phone, and he has his mom convinced that he is paying to go to this comedy show so that they'll pull him up on stage and he can do his comedy routine. Like, she's to the point that she's saying, now Gary, when he gets on stage, you make sure and video him. Like, that is how...
She's expecting.
Oh yeah, she's expecting to see her baby boy up there making people laugh.
And then, funny story is, I didn't even make it to the comedy.
So he had it built up into his head that it was at one location. It was 5 miles away.
Okay, here's the thing. It's on Flamingo Road, so I was like, oh, that's by the Flamingo Casino. No, it's 3 miles from Flamingo Casino.
Across an interstate.
So I started walking, and then they decided to have a marathon. So, needless to say, I did not make it.
That is. I've done that before. It was with a business
Yeah.
meeting, so it was not as funny then.
No.
But
It wasn't funny to him either because he'd already bought the ticket.
Yeah.
Like that. He
VIP
cared.
ticket. I bought a VIP ticket.
He wasn't as hurt about missing the show as he was about wasting money.
I paid to have this.
I was in Vegas a week, and I spent $12 in the slot machine.
I try. I don't understand gambling, and it's not that I don't. I totally get why you gamble. I couldn't figure out the stupid slot machine.
I just press buttons.
I tried, and like the people with me was like, "Why isn't it working?" I was like, "I don't. It's not working." And like, just press it, and they press it, it wouldn't work. And they're like, "I guess you're just not meant to gamble." I was like,
Yeah.
I literally don't. Like, I get it. You pull the lever, but this is not working.
Yeah, well, with him, he got free play, and he used the free play. $5 free play is 5 of the $12, so he actually only played $7. And the whole time that he was playing their money, he was complaining about spending money on gambling.
Stupid waste of money.
Hey.
It sounds like did you make? But they gave you $7. Is that right?
No, they gave me 5.
They gave you 5.
I spent 7 of my own money.
So did you come back with any money? Did you net any? No.
Hey, we were on that competitive slot machine. You put like, what, $20 in it? The wheel that we kind of versed each other?
Yeah.
Gary put $20 in it. I put $1. I was playing longer than Gary.
Yeah, but Gary won all his money back before he left that casino, didn't he?
Yeah, but I only spent $1.
He did only spend $1.
That's pocket change. Nice. Hey,
Literally.
Yeah.
Well, as usual, we've digressed off topic.
Yeah,
So you don't got any more questions?
I don't.
And you said everything you need to say.
I think so. I try not to talk for too long, otherwise I get annoying. But that's fine.
Well, this has been Ben and Gary's.
Here's the scoop.
Have an amazing day, everybody.